Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're digging into a theory that says it's found a universal code for balance. Yeah, a single formula that could explain everything from the cosmos all the way down to our own consciousness. So what if balance wasn't just some vague feeling, but an actual universal formula? That's the big question behind this ambitious framework called Crippin's theory. The claim here is pretty wild, that there's a single measurable constant for coherence, a kind of sweet spot that applies to, well, everything, from the universe itself right down to our own minds. So how on earth does it work? All right, let's dive right in. We're going to start with the very seed of this whole idea, a single, elegant equation that this theory says is the key to, well, all harmony. Okay, so at the absolute heart of Crippin's theory is this, the Atlas T equation. Now, the most important thing to get here is what T, the constant of balance, actually is. Because this theory insists balance isn't about being perfectly still or static. No, it's an active, rhythmic harmony. It's like a dance, a constant state of adjustment to maintain that balance. Now, I know that sounds a little abstract, so let's break it down with a great analogy. Imagine you're running a marathon. P stands for proportion, which you can think of as your ideal stride length, the perfect geometric design for your body. Then you've got K, that's the Greek letter kappa, for phase. This is all about your pacing, right? The rhythm and timing that let you keep going without burning out. And finally, R is for resonance. That's your stable energy output, the sustained coherence that keeps you from just collapsing. When you get all three of those working together in perfect sync, that's when you hit T, that state of perfect dynamic balance. So that's the math, but how does a formula for balance apply to us, to our minds? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. The theory takes that same formula and sprouts it into a whole language for consciousness, using four simple, fundamental geometric shapes.
And here they are. The theory suggests that our minds basically organize all of our experiences using these four primitives. Think of them as the psychological expression of proportion, phase, and resonance. So the triangle, that's all about clarity and direction. The circle is for connection, empathy, our relationships. The square gives us stability and structure, kind of like our brain's executive function. And finally, the spiral symbolizes growth and how we integrate what we've learned. It's a pretty radical idea, right? Linking pure geometry directly to how we think and feel.
Okay, so we've gone from a formula to the human mind. Now, the theory zooms all the way out to the entire cosmos. It proposes that balance, even on a universal scale, all comes down to a fundamental tension between two great opposing forces.
And this brings us to a really crucial point. In this theory, stability is not a state of rest. Not at all. It's a perfect dynamic tension. You can think of it like a tug of war, where both sides are pulling with the exact same amount of strength. What do you get? A stable but very active equilibrium, right there in the middle.
So what are these two forces? The theory gives them some pretty cool conceptual names. On one side, you have the reality field. This is the expressive force. It's all the energy we can see and measure, everything that's pushing outward from a system. And on the other side, that's what the theory calls the black matter field. And just a quick note, this is a conceptual term. It's not the same thing as dark matter in physics. Think of it as the containing force, the unseen potential that stabilizes and provides an inward boundary. The key is, you absolutely need both. Without that container, the system just flies apart. And without the expression inside, it just collapses. So, just to recap, we've gone from pure mass to the human mind to the entire cosmos. But believe it or not, the theory doesn't stop there. It tries to bring this huge universal principle right back down to Earth with a tangible, honest-to-goodness blueprint for building entire cities based on these very principles of balance. And this quote, I think, just perfectly captures the spirit of this architectural vision. Build not for power, but for proportion. It's all about creating environments that are actually in tune with these natural laws of harmony, instead of just forcing our own will onto the landscape. The whole goal is to build places that are like resonant instruments, not just cold, functional structures. And this vision gets super specific, really granular. In a proposed prototype for, of all places, Hollywood, the rules are designed to literally embed this harmony into daily life. For instance, there's a law of equal surfaces, which means for every square foot of concrete, you have to have a square foot of living green space or water. No corporate chains, only local artisans. They even want to ban illuminated advertising at night to bring back the darkness and the stars. And get this, movement within the city would only be by foot, bicycle, or even animal. It's a total radical reimagining of city life, all based on this idea of ecological balance. Okay, so after this journey connecting math, our minds, the cosmos, and even architecture, what's the big takeaway? What does this incredibly ambitious framework really all add up to? Well, at the end of the day, Crippin's theory is really an attempt to create a single, unified framework, a kind of elegant language to describe how all these complex systems, and I mean everything from the tiniest atom to the biggest city, achieve and maintain their harmony. You could almost call it a grand unified theory of coherence. And that, of course, brings us to the really big, provocative question that lies at the heart of this whole theory. Is this a genuine, testable, universal code for how things actually hold together? Or is it a powerful and really beautiful metaphor, a kind of blueprint for the balanced, harmonious world we all wish we could build? That's the question we'll leave you with.